There was a night I woke up on the kitchen floor with blood in my mouth and the smell of alcohol on my clothes. My mother was sitting against the wall beside me, not screaming, not panicking, just staring at me with the kind of fear that only a parent understands. For a few seconds, she thought I was dead. The strange part is this: 2 years earlier, I still had a company. I still wore tailored suits. People still shook my hand with respect. But losing money did not destroy me. The divorce did not destroy me either. What almost destroyed me was the way I used alcohol to slowly disappear from my own life. And the frightening thing is, it did not happen all at once. It happened one drink at a time. When I started drinking to escape, at first the drinking looked harmless. That is how many disasters begin. Quietly, politely, almost professionally. After the bankruptcy, my mind never stopped moving. Numbers, debt, regret, conversations I wished I could undo. Then the divorce came, and suddenly the apartment felt unfamiliar, like I was borrowing someone else's failed life. So every night I poured a drink to calm my head down. Then another. Then eventually drinking stopped being something I did. It became the place I went to avoid myself. During the day I pretended I was still functioning. I answered messages hours late, ignored calls from people who once respected me, stopped looking people in the eyes for too long. One afternoon I walked past a restaurant where I used to take clients years earlier. The waiter recognized me immediately. He smiled politely and asked, "Long time no see, sir. The usual table?" I stood there for a second, pretending to check my phone, because I did not know how to explain that I could barely afford the coffee anymore. That moment stayed with me longer than the bankruptcy papers did, because men can survive losing money. What destroys many men is humiliation without recovery. If you've ever had a season in life where shame almost made you disappear, comment, "Still here." The frightening thing about alcohol is not only what it does to the body, it quietly lowers a man's standards for his own life. A dirty apartment becomes acceptable. Isolation becomes comfortable. Then one day you look in the mirror and realize you are no longer living. You are no longer solving your pain. You are only getting better at escaping it. And that was exactly what I was doing every single night. The night my mother looked tired of being strong. My mother never yelled at me during those years. That almost made it worse. She moved around me carefully. Like people do around broken furniture they still cannot afford to replace. Some mornings I would wake up and notice fresh groceries in the refrigerator, even though I knew she barely had money herself. The kind of things parents keep doing long after their children stop deserving it. One afternoon, I saw her trying to open a jar with shaking hands. Stress had aged her quickly. I realized the person who once protected me from the world was now losing sleep because of me. She looked at me and said, "Do you still want to live like this?" No lecture, no anger, just exhaustion. That same week, my body started failing in ways I could no longer ignore. I had lost so much weight that my clothes no longer fit correctly. Some mornings, my heartbeat felt irregular. One night, I tried pouring a drink and spilled half of it on the counter because my hands would not stay steady. My mother saw it happen. "I don't think I can watch this anymore." A few days later, she asked me to go to a rehabilitation center. I wanted to refuse immediately because some part of me still believed asking for help meant I had completely failed as a man. But the truth was already obvious. I had failed long before that moment. The rehabilitation center felt cold and impersonal. Plain walls, harsh lights, people sitting in silence, avoiding eye contact. The first days were brutal, sleepless nights, sweat-soaked sheets, a mind that refused to stay quiet for even 30 seconds. But the strangest part happened after I left. Sometimes you walk back into the world feeling exposed. just your thoughts waiting for you exactly where you left them. If I can't hide inside alcohol anymore, then who exactly am I now? That question followed me everywhere afterward. The man who spoke to me without pity. After leaving the rehabilitation center, I stopped knowing where I belonged. I was sober, but I was not stable. People rarely talk about that part. They talk about quitting alcohol like crossing a finish line. But for me, sobriety felt less like freedom and more like standing defenseless in the middle of my own mind. The drinking was gone. The shame was not. I still woke up some mornings feeling like a man whose life had already ended. The only difference was now I had to feel everything clearly. One afternoon, I found myself sitting alone at a small tea shop near a public park because I did not want to go home yet. There was an older man sitting a few tables away from me. Simple clothes, calm posture. The kind of face that looked like it had survived difficult decades quietly. At one point, he noticed my hands trembling slightly while I held the cup. He asked, "Recently quit drinking?" I nodded. He did not look surprised, which somehow made me trust him more. Most people either looked at me with disappointment or fake encouragement. But this man looked at me normally. We spoke for maybe 20 minutes. No dramatic speeches, no mystical advice, just uncomfortable honesty. At one point, I admitted something to him that I had never said out loud before. I told him, I don't even know who I am without alcohol anymore. He stayed quiet for a moment after hearing that. Then he said something I still remember word for word. Good, that means the lies are finally dying. I remember staring at him after that because part of me still wanted excuses. Instead, he continued, alcohol was never your real home. It was just a place you went to avoid grief, humiliation, and fear. Then he pointed toward the park outside the window. Older men walking slowly, workers sitting on benches eating late lunches, a delivery driver asleep on his motorbike during break. And he said, "See those men? Every one of them is carrying something heavy. Most just choose not to destroy themselves over it." That sentence stayed with me because for years I kept acting like suffering made my collapse special. But pain is common, failure is common. But turning pain into self-destruction is still a choice. Before leaving, he told me one final thing. Your life does not improve when you feel motivated. It improves when your habits become stronger than your excuses. Then he stood up, paid for his tea, and walked away calmly. No life-changing movie moment, no miracle, but something inside me had shifted. For the first time in years, I stopped asking, how do I escape this pain? And started asking, what would a disciplined man do next? Learning to live like a man again. The difficult part was not quitting alcohol. The difficult part was building a life that no longer needed it. For a while, everything felt strangely empty. No late-night drinking, no numbness, just long days with nowhere to hide from myself anymore. So I started small. I began waking up early even when I had no reason to. At first, it felt pointless. There is something deeply humiliating about setting an alarm for 5 a.m. when your life still looks like failure by every outside standard. But I did it anyway. Some mornings I walked around the neighborhood before sunrise because I could not yet handle being alone inside my own thoughts. The city looked different that early. Street vendors setting up quietly. Workers and already commuting before daylight. Most people were carrying difficult lives without using them as permission to collapse. A lot of good men are carrying heavy years quietly. If you respect that kind of strength, like the video and comment, still fighting, that realization changed me more than motivation ever did. I also started exercising again. Not because I suddenly loved discipline. Honestly, many mornings I hated it. My body felt stiff. My energy disappeared quickly. Some days my legs felt heavy after only a short run, but every workout gave me something alcohol never could. Evidence. Evidence that I was still capable of improving something. Slowly, my body started changing. Then my thinking changed. And eventually, the constant chaos inside my head became quieter. Not peaceful, just quieter. One night, I almost relapsed. I was walking home after a long day when I passed a small restaurant filled with men drinking together after work. Laughter, beer bottles, the familiar sound of glasses hitting the table. For a few seconds, my body reacted before my mind did. I actually stopped walking. I could already imagine the first drink, the temporary relief, the silence afterward. Then something strange happened. I suddenly pictured my mother eating dinner alone at home while wondering if I was drinking again. And for the first time, the shame of returning to that life became stronger than the craving itself. So I kept walking. That moment may sound small to other people. To me, that walk home mattered. Recovery rarely arrives as one heroic moment. Usually it is 1,000 invisible decisions nobody applauds. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one." And slowly through those decisions, I started respecting myself again. Starting from zero without complaining. Once my mind became more stable, reality became impossible to avoid anymore. I still had no real income, no company, no status. Sobriety did not magically rebuild my life. It simply gave me the ability to face it awake. So I took whatever work I could find. Warehouse jobs, delivery shifts, loading inventory under the heat for hours at a time. A few years earlier, I used to sit in meetings discussing expansion strategies. Now I was carrying boxes while younger supervisors gave instructions without even looking at me twice. And honestly, that transition wounded my ego more than physical exhaustion ever did. One afternoon, while unloading supplies behind a building, I ran into a former client. He recognized me immediately. For a second, both of us froze. I could see him trying to decide whether to pretend not to notice my situation. Then he smiled awkwardly and said, "Good to see you staying busy." I nodded like it did not affect me. But after he left, I sat alone behind the truck for several minutes staring at my work gloves. Not because I felt ashamed of honest work, because I realized how attached my identity had been to status. For years, I thought people respected me because of who I was. Losing everything showed me how much of that respect had never truly belonged to me, but it also showed me who I actually was without them. At night, I started studying again, not with excitement, with urgency. I watched free online classes, read books from the library, took notes at cheap coffee shops after work because the apartment still felt too heavy sometimes. I also changed the people around me. Some of the men I used to drink with stopped calling once I stopped joining them. At first, I felt abandoned. Then eventually I understood something difficult. Many relationships survive only as long as you keep destroying yourself together. Epictetus once said, "Associate with people who are likely to improve you." So instead of chasing old circles, I started spending time around different kinds of people. A delivery driver saving money to open a small business. A man in his 60s learning English at night because he still wanted more from life. None of them wasted much time complaining. After a while, I realized the people around me were quietly changing the way I thought. And slowly, without realizing it at first, I stopped seeing myself as permanently broken. That second life took years. I rebuilt it through ordinary work no one would have noticed. Over time, the company trusted me with more responsibility. Years after carrying boxes there, I became the head of their sales team. Nothing glamorous, but after losing everything, even small trust feels meaningful again. Some nights, I still wondered whether rebuilding was actually possible, but something inside me had changed by then. I was no longer chasing fast success. I just wanted a stable life I would not need to escape from again. And very quietly, the idea of starting a business again returned to my mind, Not from ego this time, from readiness. Taking my life back, years later, I slowly started building work for myself again. Nothing flashy, nothing like the life I once chased before. Just honest work built with a calmer mind and steadier habits. And strangely enough, that life felt far better than the one I almost destroyed myself trying to protect. For the first time, peace mattered more to me than appearances. One evening after finishing work, I stopped by my mother's apartment carrying groceries and medicine. We did not talk much, but for the first time in years, the silence between us felt peaceful instead of painful. No quiet panic, no checking my eyes for signs of alcohol, just relief. For years, my mother had been carrying the consequences of my choices. For the first time in years, she looked calmer. That moment mattered more to me than rebuilding any company ever could, because I finally understood something many men learned too late. Real success is not becoming impressive again. It is becoming dependable again. It is becoming someone your family no longer has to worry about. If these reflections have helped you through difficult seasons in life, you can support Move or Die Stoic through the Ko-fi link in the pinned comment. Sometimes people ask me what saved my life: the rehabilitation center, the older man at the tea shop, discipline, business, tamayim. Honestly, all of those things helped, but none of them mattered until I made one decision: to stop escaping pain and start carrying it like a grown man. Looking back now, I do not think alcohol was the real problem. Alcohol was just the place I went when I no longer knew how to face my own life. That is why some men never truly recover. They remove the bottle, but never rebuild the man holding it. And eventually the pain simply finds another escape route. I used to believe strength meant never collapsing. Now I understand something very different. Strength is waking up after years of self-destruction and still choosing to rebuild anyway. Slowly, quietly, without applause. Some of the hardest battles men fight happen in complete silence. Most recovery happens quietly through ordinary decisions repeated long enough to change a life. Getting out of bed, staying sober one more day, going to work even while ashamed of where life ended up, learning how to sit with your thoughts without needing to escape them. That is real discipline. And maybe the most dangerous thing about addiction is not what it takes from your body. It is how quietly it convinces you that your life is already over. Mine was not, and if you are listening to this while feeling trapped inside your own mistakes, shame, or exhaustion, maybe yours is not over either. If this story spoke to something real in your life, take a moment to like the video, comment, and subscribe, because many men are not looking for motivation anymore. They are looking for proof that it is still possible to come back from a very dark place without losing themselves completely.